Hello, everyone. My name is Glory Divine. This is Maiba Kilgan, my sister from another mother. This is part two of our previous conversation. We had to cut it so that you don't get bored, and the topic is a little bit different. So we'll be talking about something else. My name is Glory. This is Leading with Glory. Let's dive right in. Welcome back again. Maeva, it's nice to have you here. I know it's part two. You are feeling tired. Oh, okay. You're okay. I'm happy to hear that. So, I have a question. And I want to hear your honest opinion. And I feel like a lot of people may be going through that. Um, so I want to fall in love. Let's say I want to feel the butterflies in the tummy and all the things that people say. I read my Bible and I see that it's not a bad thing to be thinking marital relationships, for example. But what is the balance when it comes to it becoming a distraction versus not? As a young Christian girl or young Christian boy, do you think it is wisdom to be seeking out a I love you babe by message on the phone in the evening when I know that I'm not ready yet?
No, I don't think it's wise because you're wasting your time. If you are not ready to be with anyone and you know you're not in a season where if a man comes and say, I want to marry you, you'll say yes, then you are wasting your own time because you are entertaining people who you are now going to take anyway. And that is not right. I would never advise that because you are single and let's say you are going to a season of maybe you feel a little bit lonely. Now you want to, and let's say men are approaching you. You have zero interest in all of them, but you are entertaining them. That is not wise. It is not wise because it's a waste of time.
But I mean, is that a bad thing? Or is it that good can become bad if it is not right? I don't know.
Okay, now I will ask another question or you tell you that what does it produce? If you know I have no interest in, let's say a guy approaches you and I have no interest in you, but because you are interested in me, I will keep entertaining you. What does it produce for you and how exactly do you think is going to help him? Because if he is interested in you and you are entertaining him, he has the idea that the interest is mutual. So then you are not on the same page, but he thinks you are on the same page. You collect his money, you go out on date, he says I love you, you entertain his love. In the end, you will tell him, I'm sorry, said it was virtual last, and he now is heartbroken. Now, I will ask you, do you think God will be pleased with something like that?
Wow, when you put it like that, it feels like wickedness.
It's just simple questions because even I went through those. It's like, I'm somebody who, when I gave my life to Christ, I was like, I'm not entertaining anyone that I know I'm not going to end up with. Because a lot of times you can tell when somebody approaches you that I have no interest in this person. But now it's like, just because you feel lonely, just because you feel like, I want to hear I love you, it does not mean that you should. You know what I mean? A lot of times, there's this verse in the Bible, sorry, that says that all things are lawful for me, but but I will not,
Yeah, you sound just everything. I even love when someone said, "Do not awake love if you're really star."
and it is true. Because when you are in love with someone, your mind become, I don't want to say consumed. There is a space there, obviously. God allows that to happen because it is not wrong for you to fall in love. Because I know sometimes I would just divert it a little bit, the conversation. Sometimes as Christian girls or people in general, I'm not sure if men deal with this, but I would say Christian people, yeah, maybe we may feel like, oh, because I'm so much in love with this person now, it is taking me away from my first love, which is Christ. But it is not true, because as long as you keep God first in your life and in everything, your love for God is there, and God allows that space for you to also love your loved one. But I think that sometimes we think that we are cheating on God. But,
But if I want to press on that thing, when you say when you love God first, it reminds me of this verse that says that as the oil that falls from the head of Aaron to his ears to the entire body. I feel like when you love God, of course God loves you, but based on that intimacy and that relationship, it flows. It's like, oh yeah, and then you can love other people. Yeah. But I also want to come back to our first point because I feel like a lot of people use the season they are supposed to focus and season they are supposed to build to love. And it's not love per se. I would say to play. I mean, I sound a little bit drama. No. But it feels like when I watch a movie where it's high school love, leave me. I hate it so much. It pains me because the movies be putting the high school love like the original thing. Um, I can count how many people I know that got married to their high school sweetheart. I'm sorry. They break up. I remember when I was in high school, there was these two people. Oh my God. They'll come in the morning in school, in class, they'll be kissing in the morning. You come early in the morning, you are like, I'll see these people kissing. Can you not frustrate my life? And in the evening, while we're going back to school, he will kiss her in class. They'll walk over, he'll walk her close to in her mother, where she used to be in her neighborhood. He will leave her there and walk back to his house. And I was always like, oh, that's zero. That is love. I they didn't they didn't last. When high school finished, they parted ways. Unfortunately, I'm not even sure if they talk to each other again. But the whatever they were sharing or showing at that moment felt like a passion that could burn the walls. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's sometimes this misconception that you could trade your seasons and recover them back, that you could joke with whatever time you have and recover it back. And I feel like the time you have is really not for joking. It's something, it's a currency that should be taken very seriously. As if you were given gold, you won't joke with it. But I feel like we joke a lot with the time, especially when it comes to having romantic affairs or relationships. You'll see a young person who is supposed, I feel like, is supposed to invest in their self development, in reading books, reading about leadership, reading about purpose, reading their Bible or whatever, going to conferences, and they are not able to do that for 30 minutes a day, but they can talk on the phone for 4 hours with a young high school boy who definitely will not. I'm trying to be a little bit considerate, but I feel like each time that I look back, honestly, at myself and I think about um all the time that in high school they'll be like, let's go party, or in high school they'll be like, let's go here, let's do this, let's watch. When I think sometimes about all those moments, I feel like it was so much a waste of my time. Even if I would have not been doing anything productive, I feel like even if I was just sleeping, bro, you have time management, so I just wanted to like pin this thing. But what do you think people should do when they feel lonely and they feel like they are not in a season of marriage? Of course, they're in a season where they should be building, but they feel lonely, or they feel like everybody around them is in some type of I love you. What will you recommend them do? Hmm. Hmm.
well, I think that, like you said, there's a season for everything. There's a season to be single. Understanding that first, like the
Emerticism and all of that.
no, but it's the truth though. I think for me, coming from me, right,
Yeah.
there's a season to be single, because think about the fact that even in your singlehood, there's so much preparation. And I'm not saying just preparation for marriage, because I know a lot of time I think God is preparing me for my No, there's a preparation for the next season.
Yeah, because Sharon is not the end.
It's not the end goal. It's not the end. You have purpose, you have assignment. Like marriage is one of them. If let's say your desire is to marry, it's one, but you have so much that God has called you to. So a season of singleness is preparation, not for per se marriage, but for everything, for so much. Like there's something that God is birthing in you in that season. There's something that He's developing in you. Your character is being developed in a way, not that it cannot happen, let's say when you get married, but for a lot of time when we are married, our focus it starts changing a little bit.
I even think that there is a timeline to exactly. If you teach a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old boy or girl can easily pick a new language because it's one of their years where if they can learn whatsoever, they should learn it. Once you clock 20, 25, 30, sorry, your cognitive level decreases. Even scientifically, you cannot learn as fast as someone who is in their prime years, it could be their teenage years. And because from 10 to something, about 18 or so, you really have that cognitive capacity to learn. So it's really the place where I feel like you should invest more in building yourself, developing yourself, learning new languages, learning new things, building your character up. Because these people that keep saying that when you get married, your character is a lie.
No, it does automatically happen there. You marry your character. No, marriage will sanctify you. Yes, I think when the way I think about marriage is like, it's a big. It requires a lot of dying to self, right? But let's come back to the thing of seasons and things like that and timeline. But I would say that you also have to be discerning of what season you're in. Think about the fact that if you're not married, it's not because God doesn't want you to marry. As if God is the one that marry you. I'm like even you yourself, think to yourself, like, am I truly ready to enter marriage right now? And seasons are different. Yeah. I know a lot of time we look at people and we envy what they have. That is already wrong because seasons are different. One thing I've been learning lately is that everybody is in a different season. Like we're all on a different journey. So let's say if I see Glory get married and I'm not yet married, it doesn't mean that God preferred her over me. It's just the season that she's in, and my season will come later. But now there's also a thing of like that thing where you say recovering seasons. If let's say with my thing, how I see entertaining people that are not going nowhere. In those space of entertaining those men, you will spend so much time talking to them, like entertaining them, that even if the person that was supposed to come, that even if a man that was genuinely interested in K, you will not catch it. You will not catch it. Because how do you know in 5 of them that and we can lose seasons and it's hard to recover. By the mercy of God, you can recover some seasons. But let's say, well, you and I were having a conversation a while back about this thing of marriage, right? And how so many people find themselves later in life still longing because sometimes we are so distracted by other things that we don't recognize. It is not God that will come and take your hand and then go and you're holding it in your mouth. You have to be discerning, you have to be open. And even with that, there's a balance to self-development, right? Because you have to be open.
And think that when it comes to seasons, it's important that you know which season you're inside. And when you know which season you are in, to stick to what you know, to the knowledge that God has given you to see. I like to say to stick to your God in a way. Because I feel like sometimes people know that this is the time for me to pray more, or this is the time for me to read more, to develop this is the time for me to build my career. And then someone will get married close to them. And they'll be like, oh, the dress was so nice. She looks so pretty. I want to get married to. They forgot that what their journey was. It's just like you look yourself in the mirror, and as soon as you leave the mirror, you forget the spots you had on you. So I feel like I just want to say to all the young people there that I feel like as young leaders, it's important that you know self. It's important that you know God, but it's also important that you know self, to know where am I in my journey. And there are different levels to this. There are some young people that were formed scenes, and now they're in a place where they can shine on social media, shine in conferences, shine in this. But maybe you're at that place where it's not really about you speaking at an event yet. It's about you reading, attending the events. Or maybe you are the place where you can speak at an event, but you're not really at the place of organizing the event. I feel like sometimes people want to jump the process, and because they don't even recognize which season they are in, they start stuff, but they never finish the stuff they started because they feel pressured by the journey of other people. And that could pinpoint to the fact that you don't know which season and you are in. If I know that I'm in a season where I just ought to read more and develop myself, I won't be sad, or I won't be actively pursuing, in a way, organizing conferences. But if I know that I'm in a season where I've done the background work, I have the content in me, not just the whatever content creation we're talking about now. I have content to share. I have knowledge to share. It's overflowing in my cup, and I ought to be organizing events. If at that point what you are doing is just speaking at events, you are, I'm sorry, but you are doing injustice to to the world as well. You are not maximizing your potential. So I feel like it's really important to know the seasons you are in. 2026 is here. Know which season you are in 2026. It's not because 2025 ended and 2026 started that automatically you are in a new season. I need to say that there are people who go through the season of learning for 5 straight years. 10 years. I'm not saying that that's where you are. I'm just saying that a shift from 2025 to 2026 does not automatically mean that you're in a new season. So you still need to cross check with yourself in prayer, yes, but looking at yourself and at your journey, which season am I in, and put the work that you need. Because as stupid or as whatever or as common sense as this may seem, even when we say that we always have time to learn, I feel like we don't always have time to learn. There comes a season where, if you, like that girl, right, that oversold herself on socials, she has to learn fast now, because whoever comes to her socials and sees and has such a high expectation needs to meet her with some level of knowledge that matches. Most will break the doors, and when you break the expectations of people to that point, they will not come. You might go back and get the knowledge. You might go back and train yourself. But if somebody was already first impression matters, second impression matters. If somebody was already feeling like you were a lie or a fake, even when you come back with the knowledge, it's very difficult for them to trust you again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like you don't always have all these seasons with you. So if you're in your 20s and you're not yet in that season of marriage, I think my advice is really look at which season you are in, maximize your potential in that season, learn as much as you can, grow as much as you can. Grow. You can't say that you don't have things to grow in. You definitely can grow in wisdom. You definitely can grow even in intelligence and intellect. You can grow in character. You can grow even in social networks, having friends. I didn't say boyfriends and girlfriends. Always there is talent. But I feel like, yeah, that would be my takeaway from this. But if you have one thing, one advice you give to somebody in 2036, well, I'm warning ourselves.
Okay, two. I don't ask for two, like more specifically, Koteri.
Hmm, I'll say concerning whatsoever. We were talking about a huge topic. Even in part one, we talked about a huge topic. So I'm putting on the spot. Wait, I can't pick on anything. One advice I would give to someone. Yeah, how many twenty is it? I think for me, I want to say, I even just remember an advice that someone gave that I listened to, and he said, um, if you were in high school and you were really lovey-dovey and you wanted and you tried one relationship and it failed, stop dating. I've concentrated years to learning to self-development until you are ready to enter marriage. And I think that was an advice that blessed me because sometimes we feel like I have to keep dating, 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 dating. And no, if you tried it once in the past, it's okay. It failed, but or if you are in one now, it's going. If it fails, but his advice was, you are not yet on the scene of marriage. Take a break. Take some time. That would teach you that there are not that many options. It will recalibrate your mind, else you become someone that cannot be single.
I think that like even pertaining to that too, like if you are, don't be scared that you won't find the person that you marry. Also, that not dating is a really good advice because it teaches you to really look at, like, think of your life in the future. Even when you are saying, I want to get married, what kind of home do you want to have? What kind of children do you want to raise? Because you need to think about those things. Are you calling to ministry? Are you calling to lead? Are you called to start a business? You need to now ask yourself, okay, if this is what I'm seeing my future, I need this type of man. Because then it limits it limits the fix. Because when somebody will come and they will talk and it does not align to, I'm not saying keep a strict list of 100 unrealistic expectation of men, but think of your future, think of your life, of what God has deposited in you, your businesses, your ambitions, your intellect. Now you will start having more, like a more concise, like a more focused idea of what kind of man you're looking for. That way, even if a guy comes, you are vetting him, then you can easily eliminate the fakes.
Yeah.
It's not a it's not rocket science to be like, I'm going to find a man. And you don't have to be desperate to find one. Like, it's not wrong to have the desire to marry at all. And I think that even God does not shun the fact that you want to get married. It's that it's a desire that I believe has been placed there by all, right? Now it becomes a problem when you start idolizing. And idolization of marriage is seen in a way, now you start overly being obsessed with the idea of marriage, and you want to make things to work out when you want it, how you want it. You date even with the wrong people. Even with the wrong people, you start excusing them. Yeah. Those are the things that will let you know that, okay, I have blown it out of proportion. When you are in the season of marriage, it will happen naturally. And I mean naturally, not like the guy will appear, but you will be you will have just this wisdom to make the right, like, if you have taken that time to just focus on God, go growing yourself, you know what I'm saying, right? No distraction with men. And as you are developing, you are praying even towards your marriage. You are praying about the type of men that you want. This applies to men too. The kind of man too. It applies to men too. Like, I think that one thing to remember is that God has deposited something in you that is very important, and marrying the wrong partner can easily destroy it. So it's important when we're talking about the seasons, that in your seasons you are focusing on what God has asked you to do in that season. Is it starting a business? Focused on that for that season. And when the man come, he will not disrupt it. You will fit right into it. Like that marriage, it will not disrupt it. It will fit. It will be somebody who aligns to the vision that God has placed in you in general. And when you're in a season of starting a business, it does not end there. You continue, but in even as you are continuing with your business, a new season can start, and it can be now that I'm in a season of marriage and somebody will come. Don't be so focused on the business that you forget that you need to marry, or you want to marry, because then you will not be open. Always be open, but don't allow just anybody in. And don't compare your journey with other people. Don't compare yourself to other people. I think that is the biggest thief of joy. Comparison. It leads to ungratefulness. It leads to so much variation, pain. Before even do witchcraft, because Gozaling is like witchcraft, we start gathering a lot of people because you are jealous. No, it's not good. You start being ungrateful. You start putting blame on God, like, why do you should do this? No, that's not good. Don't compare. You're in a Your season is different. You might be 30 and somebody is 19, and it just seems like they are far, but it's okay. You have not died. You have not died. This they all say, On this note, I think Maeva said it all. Oh, you have not died. If you enter 2026, you have the reason to concentrate on your season, put in the work and make it work. And I believe that um as you act on faith and as you act on the word, on the advices you heard from this platform, that any other season that you've lost, may God in his mercy help you to recover them. But really, she said it all. You have life, you are in 2026, you have the time to put in, it's true, but I believe that if you do the work, it will pay. And 2026, if you put in the work, consistency, without distraction, building yourself up, you attain that space that you really want to. And I think it's not rocket science, but I think there's a clear pattern here. Put in the work, know God, know yourself, build yourself up. On this note, this is the end of Leading with Glory. As always, I'm your host, Glory Divine. This was our first time guest, Maeva Kepgan, my sister from the mother. And it was such a pleasure. Remember to subscribe, to share it with a friend, to drop a comment about a question you have, about something you want us to talk about, or just something that changed. Remember, this is a place where young leaders are made to be leaders that God will trust and that men will want to follow. Thank you again and have a great whatever time you are. Thank you.